clear that all of them that we heard seem to want nothing more than conflict and more than having Israel wiped from the face of the earth. But remember, when there was the war in Gaza, when there was the war in Lebanon, the one thing consistent about agents of Iran that they all do, these terrorist organizations, they're always using human shields. They're putting civilians and putting weapons in the neighborhoods of civilians all the time. I would actually argue that the military of Israel use such restraint. I mean, frankly, there aren't too many ways to stop a boat. One of the ways is to fire upon it. That's not, they chose to put their own sailors in jeopardy, although there should have been no reason to believe that they would be on a humanitarian boat. Why would anyone expect that someone who boards a humanitarian aid ship to be set upon? And, you know, to some degree, the media has to be on notice that there is some responsibility to report the context of this thing as well, not just the end. When you see a sailor being tossed overboard, you know, it didn't seem like a very humanitarian act, and there was a shameful display by Reuters. They recently published a photograph of the soldier who, the sailor, the Israeli soldier sailor on the ground, and cropped out the guy standing next to him with a knife to explain where that blood came from. That knife was held by someone on this humanitarian aid ship. No one understands the points that Mr. Nadler is making. This piece of real estate, about the size of New Jersey, now has a terrorist agent here in Gaza, in the south, a terrorist agent up here in Lebanon, governed by Hezbollah, at least about 25% of its government is, and Nasrallah and Hezbollah controls this area here, and a terrorist agent of Iran right here in Syria, which once upon a time controlled literally the mountaintop overlooking this country. So what the gentleman is describing is a terrorist functions all in support of the same enemies of the United States, and that's Iran. Exactly right. Our cooperation with the State of Israel has never been higher in terms of military and intelligence. Same exact offer was made to this flotilla. Come to Ashdod right here, and it wasn't made an hour before. It was made 10 days before. As soon as the word got out, even before it had left port, the nation of Turkey was sponsoring this, and the sponsors of the boat were said, listen, just go right here, and we'll take a look at what you have, and then we'll escort it militarily into Gaza for you. Someone who represents South Florida, you know that if a boat came churning towards the coast, and let's say it came from Yemen, and it had people on it who were chanting death to Floridians, and it wouldn't stop when the military offered it an opportunity to, we would certainly not as Americans expect to say, okay, we'll just see what happens when it reaches shore. You're exactly right to point out the necessity of stopping it in international waters. That's where blockades happen. And I don't know if they have C-SPAN in Israel, but sometimes it's easy, that little country, to feel beset on all sides. And we share the same common sense that they do, that, you know, they're victims of terror. And I want to thank you. You know, we disagree on a lot in this place, and you're going to spend the next hour or so pointing out some of those places. But there are some things that have broad bipartisan support, and the support of Israel is one of those things, and I want to thank you for being at the forefront of that.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you for the leadership you've shown tonight.